BEEX project is a no-profit foundation about visual art and photography. If you want to help us, just drop a donation on buymeacoffee.com/BerlinExplorer. So welcome to 50 Minutes of Experience. Today I'm with Christopher Trotchie from Oregon. Welcome, Christopher.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, really good. And for you?
Yeah, things are great. I mean, I don't think any amount of complaining could change my situation. So I'm going to be positive about it, I guess.
Okay. So can you tell us a bit something about you? Then where are you? What you do, and something more information about you. Then the listener doesn't know you, they can know better who you are, and then we can go a bit more inside your work.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. My name is Christopher Trotchie. I will be turning 40 in October. I'm a photographer living in Oregon. I travel as much as I can, and if you run into me 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna put a camera in your face.
So your work is mainly made on reportage, as I see, and there are different kind of work you do it. In the link you send me, I've read a bit about you and watched some pictures. But what I'm really interested to talk with you is more the experience you do it as a photographer, not a lot to talk about images in this case, because I think it's probably to talk about the experience you get in touch every time you work on something.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
So have you some experience you want in particular share with us, something touched you or something you would love to share about you did recently or not?
Do you mean like a specific amount of work or an experience?
Yeah, experience more human way also. It's not only as a photographer, but also as a human in this case.
Yeah, sure. I think that something I could talk about is it's like ever changing. Is that you have to introduce yourself, like you have to put yourself in the situation to get photographs. And I think that the best way to do that, and like in my experience with like street portraiture, for instance, is not being afraid to hear the word no. And so when you go out, it's really like, I think like the thing people ask me the most about is just like, how do you, how do you go out and photograph? How do you introduce yourself to strangers and things like that? And I think the big hurdle is just being able to hear somebody say no and be perfectly fine with that. And then I think it's kind of funny too, because a lot of times people might say no, and then they expect you to like have this like campaign to try to, change their mind. And I don't at all. I just walk away. I just say thank you and I walk away. And it's funny because I've definitely caught people kind of like shocked by that. But the reality of it is, like, as a photographer, I'm out there making work. Like, I'm out there doing something, and it's a collaborative effort with the people that I run into. And so making sure that, I don't know, I mean, like the whole concept is about humanity. And like if I'm working with, a person on doing a portrait, like we're in this together. And I think most of the time, I would say like more times than not, people are just kind of excited that you're interested in them. And you get a little opportunity to grow humanity with like every photograph you take. So I don't know. I mean, there's that. I think that that's an important thing. And most of the time, I think other people kind of catch on to that.
Yeah, totally. I agree with you. And yeah, I mean, I think thousands of stories to talk with you about, because I've seen you got in touch with a lot of people. You have a lot of people in your photograph. And I would love to ask you, so what attracts you a lot in getting in touch with people in general?
Well, I mean, I can speak for myself with photography, and I think everybody's looking for some kind of understanding of place and meaning in our lives. And I think, like, you know, with my background, uh, I studied journalism at the university, and I think, you know, it's just, or maybe even it's kind of like a psychology student, like you really start doing that stuff to kind of like figure out yourself. And I think the reason I'm drawn to you know, doing street portraits and just you know, kind of like journalistic work is I'm figuring myself out. And so I think when somebody strikes me, it's probably because it's familiar to me, and there's something comforting about uh, the qualities that I run into out there. And yeah, so I think that's kind of what it is. It's more figuring out um, the the similarities that hold us all together versus the things that polarize us away from each other. And so I think that the more people I come into contact with, the better understanding I have in
And
general.
do you spend time with people you shoot, or yeah, or it's just, I mean, spend time for sure, you spend time, but I mean, in the you spend a long time with them, or just the time of shooting and just a talk, a small talk, and go away?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a mixed bag, 100%. Like, I mean, like I mean, I've definitely been in this situation where I've taken a quick photo and then that was, you know, I said thank you, and you know, that was kind of it. But other times I've definitely gotten into a conversation and hung out for like 30-40 minutes. And then other times, like when it's maybe like a little bit more of a formal setting, uh I mean, yeah, I could be there for hours. Like it really, you know, I think oftentimes, like when I'm working with like an older person, a more experienced person, it takes a little bit of time. Oh, that being said, though, I really do try to take the photo, like a photo, right away, and then because like well, why I'm not sure, but I just feel like when you first meet somebody, like you're never gonna have that, you know, first impression, and it's kind of like catching that first impression is important. Sometimes after a conversation, um, like the photograph, like another photograph is necessary because you saw something in that person that kind of came to the surface while you were talking, like they lit up, or you know, people's demeanor can change so easily. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is sometimes I'll take a photo and be gone. Other times I might take a few photos, and then you know, when I go through the edit, then I kind of decide which photo is the best explanation, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, I understood what you mean. And another things I wanted to know more exactly, you wrote me that you travel a lot, and when you travel for photography, or so to make project in photography, or just because, yeah, you have something. I mean, you can have another work, probably another job, and then you travel more.
Yeah, so what I try to do as much as possible is take on, like, so I do commercial and like lifestyle photography, but and you know, I don't like advertise. It's like word of mouth, and it, like, you know, the more I do it, the more busy I am.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really all just a vehicle to be able to travel and do more photos, because like I said, I'm doing photos like every day. Like if I don't get out and take a photo, and you know, like that kind of, it puts me in a funk. So it's like there's like a quality of life aspect of it. And as I, you know, as a creator, I think any kind of creator, it's really important that we stay busy. So yeah, so I do a lot of traveling for work, and I mean, I will I mean, I drove to Florida, you know, to do like a simple photo setup, but it really wasn't. It didn't have anything for me. It was like the photos were an important aspect of life or whatever, but like it was to be able to travel that whole distance and see how many different people I could run into along the way, and just document, and continue the process of figuring myself out through these photos.
Yeah. So there is something you would like to experience in your near future that you never experienced before because of I don't know. Sometimes we are trapped in our daily time, and we never have time or the right moment to doing that.
Okay, let me try that a couple of ways. So like first off, like the only reason we don't do the things we want is because we tell ourselves it's not important enough. And the older I get, the more I realize it's like we definitely have this life to live, and I think we should make this life what we want it to be. And like if I can think of, I mean, I could probably dream up a million different scenarios where I could do something that I haven't done, photographically, to go work or intern or, something like that with like some sort of photography firm, and get the opportunity to spend time around other professional photographers and just kind of see, what their process is like. Like I find I'm interested in that quite a bit, seeing how Blake Andrews is a photographer that I appreciate, and something that he said that I think really stuck out is that photography is like a really isolating, or it can be an extremely isolating process. And so I don't know, I guess I try to balance that out with, getting in touch with other people's style.
I think, yeah, in the beginning it was like that. Photography was an isolating process, but I think it's also an inclusive process. And this is probably what I think I'm looking for doing this project, is to let understand that photography could not have any value for us if we could not share with others that photography. I mean, not sharing in the way like we share on Instagram, but the point is also sharing the picture with the person more close to us is a kind of inclusive things, and is not only an isolation of a process. So yeah, it can be an isolation in a way, like we are thinking about what we portray when we have today the time to think that, because I think today we don't have anymore the patience and the time to watch that picture as probably they was doing in the past, and especially to really share these pictures. And that's why this podcast also born to talk about what is behind one picture, what is behind the whole beautiful picture you do it every day, because then this become an automatization of your work. I mean, today it's really easy to produce beautiful images, and I ask always more and more to myself, which are the story behind all of these pictures, what these people want to say. I mean, I'm a photographer too, and from the moment that my teacher years ago told me that what can make the difference between you and another is to know why you shoot photography and what you want to say with. Because today, yeah, there are people really unbelievable good in shooting images. And so that's why I started this podcast. I wanted to ask to every photographer, or in any case, also I talk with the publisher or models, what for them is behind the picture, what is for them the experience they do it during the picture, what is the process, or something touch us deeply.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, like, you know, in my experience, every photographer is coming at it from the only way, the way only they can do it. You know, something else I suggest, and I wanted to comment that, you know, with your professor or your teacher talking about, you know, why you do it, not having to explain it, but your work shows it. It's like self-evident. Something that I've been told about the work I do is I produce volume. Like I produce a lot of work, and it's not to say it's all good necessarily. And it's also not to say I'm wasteful in making images. But I think that, you know, Bruce Gilden is another photographer that I think is great. And he said something that stuck out in my mind that, you know, you can have a picture of like an ashtray or something, and, you know, by itself, there's nothing to it. But if you had a couple hundred or maybe 1,000 pictures of ashtrays, then this story kind of comes out of it, all of its own. So I think that people maybe sometimes people get too hung up on like one image, and they're kind of maybe selling themselves short by doing more of an exploration. And I, you know, like maybe that's what's going on with me is, you know, I don't think I'll ever get tired of stopping strangers and asking them if they would mind if I took their photograph, you know. And it's funny because they'll ask me why, and the reason's always the same. It's because I'm figuring something out. And I think that it's just like anything, like once you know, find, like, I don't know, maybe you've worked on a car, or maybe you're into crossword puzzles or something, but there was that time when it clicked and it made sense, and then you just wanted to do it more and more and more and more, because it's like an accomplishment. So I don't know, maybe that's it. And then I do worry, so to kind of jump off of that, like I do worry though that I need to be more targeted. So something I've been doing recently is creating like smaller topics, and then working within that topic for an amount of time, and then giving myself a new topic. And so then I do that. Like I'll get into a rut, and I will be like, only producing photographs of men, for instance, or I'll realize that I'm not really being like, maybe I'm not being as represented or representative of a group. And so like I'll try to like be conscientious of that. And I also I'll ask, you know, people that I know, hey, you know, what do you think? What do you think's missing? Like, what do you think? What's an angle that you don't think that I'm, or that you don't see me exploring as much? And I don't know. I think it's important for anybody to take feedback and give yourself the opportunity to give feedback.
So I give you a feedback if you want.
Yeah, sure. Give me some feedback. That'd be great.
Yeah, your work, yeah, for sure. It's aesthetically really, really good. It's I mean, the structure is really good of your work. The only things I feel it's a bit missed is I mean, this is my just feeling about that. In many of the last picture you did, you are there, but in a way, like in a rush. And I feel like you many of portrait I've seen that you are just taking the portrait and go, and in a way the people are posing and reaction. They are posing unconsciously for a reaction to your gentle asking to doing a picture, and that's it. But I don't see the connection, the real connection. Probably you had in many pictures. You did before, and this is something I probably miss to see in your picture. I don't see anymore the connection, you know, deep connection you had before with the subject.
Yeah, I think that is true most times. I think like part of the premise for what I'm doing is so for instance, I'm currently working on, this is like a long-term project called Face Me, and the concept is about looking people in the eye. I think that most of the time we're caught up in our phones, or we're thinking about something else, and we've really like seemed to, as a society, get away from showing people dignity and respect that we don't know. And so I think oftentimes, like when I'm talking with somebody, they're more surprised that somebody is engaging them in a conversation. And so maybe that's what I'm capturing with that initial, photo, is just what it looks like to look somebody in the eye that you don't know. And I mean, I don't know that's just, until I started doing this project, I can't really think of, I don't think that was part of my, I probably tried not to talk to people as much as I talk to people, if that makes any sense. So maybe that's why, I'm not sure, but I thank you for the feedback. I'll give it some more thought, I'm sure.
Yeah, the picture are really good, and it's only about a deeper feeling and emotion feeling. If I have to consider them that you are there just for a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes, it's okay. I mean, they portray these people you get in touch with, but yeah, I have seen that when you work on some pictures that you are more inside of the scene, the results is totally different. I mean, you know what is the difference? I think is that when you are technically good, the real next step is to, in a way, put the technique in the trash and put yourself in front of that. I mean, I think not materially, but emotionally.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you. I think that yeah, and I mean, there's like different kinds of photos out there. If you're gonna sit down, like if somebody hires you to come do an environmental portrait of them, that's a lot different than meeting somebody that's just on the way to the coffee shop, because there's different levels of understanding that are necessary for both of those tasks. If I'm gonna like a biologist, for their personal website on what it like get those background things, and then really kind of dig in to that person's person. But I think in street portraiture, it's those processes are not the same at all. And I don't know. I think maybe there's a photograph I put on my Instagram that is of this guy smoking a cigarette, and that was a split-second photograph. But I'm not sure that I've ever taken a photograph that connects with somebody deeper. And so I don't know, maybe if you get a chance, go check that out and give me some more feedback.
I just be a bit more shorter because our time is going to the limit. But I think I feel the real connection you put, especially in the pictures where there are no subject, or there is one of this child is on the bike. This touched me a lot because I think it's exactly to see you in a way.
Oh, was this the one where the kid was standing next to his bicycle?
Yeah.
Or like he was, yeah. I remember that photo, and it was cool because I was out doing portraits one morning, and then these two little guys were riding their bikes around, and they noticed me, and he came over and he's like, "Hey, do you want to take my photo?" And I was like, "You betcha." And so yeah, like that. And then out of that day, that was like, yeah, that was a great photograph. I'm really glad that worked out that way.
Yeah, and I think it's really you. I mean, photography in a way it's a really easy tool to shoot. It's really easy. Everyone can shoot today, and everyone more and more can shoot a really good images. But what make I think really the difference is when you can start to read an images without reading anything else. And in a way or another,
Yeah.
also if you cannot find the words to describe that images, the picture in a way is installing something inside of your mind, and is a mix between the knowledges we have and the knowledges we have about our body connection. So it's about our emotion, and our emotion most of the time they don't have words to be described. And this is, I think, the moment that we are really getting in touch with the photograph we are doing and other people are doing, when we have just to look without think.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think that, there's a good saying for that. A picture's worth 1,000 words. Yeah, maybe sometimes leaving the words behind and just exploring the images is the most important thing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing with this project in the end.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
think so. And I wanted to compliment you too. I think this is a great project. I love the work that you guys are putting out. I'm a big fan. I hope to see more and more work come out of your guys' camp that is along these lines. And I'm going to do what I can to be as supportive as possible. I think what you're doing is amazing, and I appreciate you 100%.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So this was our podcast with Christopher Trotchie, and I thank you a lot, and was nice to meet you. And I hope to doing another podcast in the future. Probably we will talk how much you will connect with the people in the near future, because I think in a way or another something always is unblocked inside of someone when we talk about that. And I'm also, I will be surprised to see much more about your work. As you said, you don't have the website, so then I will keep on your Instagram and continue to follow what you are doing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I took my Instagram, I took my website down. I kind of started to do some rethinking about how I want that space to exist. So be on the lookout for a new website. It is going to happen. I am really concentrating on project work right now, and I think that I'll have something to be able to share with people more permanently than what I had before. So yeah, man, thank you so much. And I will be out there photographing and creating more work. And I would love to visit with you again in the future and maybe talk about something different.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you too. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Learn more about our project at allmylinks.com/BerlinExplorer or visit our Instagram and follow Berlin Explorer Project.